Hello, 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 boys and girls. What's going on? Welcome to the Evening People Show. I'm your host, Martin Matthews, and I'm late today, aren't I? Like, I'm never late. I'm never late. So, unless you're wondering what's going on, you know it's my guest. My guest made me late. She's a diva. Diva. These people that take a longer time to get ready, and yada, yada, yada. But a lot of you ladies out there know what's up. So I won't even be too hard on Mary today because she knows what's up. I know what's up. I know who I'm dealing with, and I expect anything when Mary comes to town. All right, but if this is your first time joining the show, thanks for joining the show. I'm your host, Martin Matthews, and you are on the ride known as the Evening People Ride. You must be this tall to ride this ride. If you're not that tall, you cannot ride the ride. But in the meantime, I'm not playing any music today. Facebook and YouTube I've been messing with my music. I can't have my mojo affected, so I've just been leaving it alone. All right. My guest Mary is still figuring out some technical difficulties. And again, I apologize for starting late because I'm never late. But here we are. I want to talk about something real quick. Before I do that, I want to say if you are viewing the show via YouTube, big up the YouTube family, big up the YouTube fans. Go ahead and like and subscribe and share and tell somebody else to like and subscribe and share so we can get the thing going the way we want it to go, right? It's Reggae Mix Day. I should be playing a reggae mix tape. You know, some Stone Lover bass at this year, Kilimanjaro, maybe later. All right, but like I said, before we really get into the show, before I introduce my guest, the phenomenal Mary White, if she figures out her technical difficulties, that is, I want to go back to last week when I had Linnea, the goddess, on the show. Now, the show we had last week with Linnea, two things about the show. Her name is Linnea, the goddess, like seriously, but yes, her name is Linnea, the goddess. And secondly, it was the longest show on record. Today's show will be nowhere near as long as last week's show. I promise you this. But it was a good show. I had a good time. I learned a lot. I think last week's show is the show that I've received the most post-show feedback on directly. Persons have emailed me. They have called me. They've IM'd me about last week's show. And a lot of them, this is what I want to address. A lot of them were saying they were good until she got to the point about being a mystic and channeling the I don't want to say powers, but channeling our ancestors, channeling the ability that she's been given and using it. And some folks were saying, they kind of tuned out of that part. They weren't really liking that part too much. And I'm like, okay, but why? And none of the conversations that I had amounted to much because no one could actually substantiate why it is. Now, let's look at this in perspective. We are comfortable accepting that several look at the things that we're comfortable with before we get to being uncomfortable with that. We're comfortable with a guy taking up a rod, holding it in front of an ocean and parting it in two. and we're good with that. We're comfortable with a guy holding up, I think it was 5 barley loaves and 3 fishes and feeding 5,000 people, and that were just the men that were counted, but there were women and children there. Yeah, we're comfortable with um, quite a bit of other things, but someone actually getting themselves in a state of mind to channel their ancestors and something that was innate in their people, we're uncomfortable with. And I kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say I took offense to it. I didn't take offense to it per se, but it is so simple. It's so easy to see how we as a people can accept one thing because of how it is presented to us and shun something else. And we have allowed ourselves to be, what are we talking about? Okay, let me double back here. Sometimes it takes us a second to get up and running. All right, Sharika, cherry you. Um, we're talking about last week's show. Before I get into this week's show, if my guest ever figures out her her technical difficulties, this is her sending me something here. Okay, but yeah. Anyways, we were talking about last week's show. Cavell, my dear. Thanks for joining, Cavell. Thank you so much. I'm trying to draft Cavell for the show, so I sent her a link directly. Say, hey, this is gonna be us when we get on. But my guest today is kind of dilly-dallying a little bit because of some technical difficulties. So I'm kind of actually resending her some stuff right now. But yes, I was saying last week we were talking about, or we were talking to Linnea the goddess. And there were several special characteristics about last week's show. One of them being it was the longest show on record, and the content that we covered was pretty unique. Some of the content we covered included Linnea being a mystic, and she gave it a mystic. She said it was a lot deeper than that, but she called it that because folks are more comfortable with it. And I was saying that I received a lot of feedback from last week's show after the show. Folks were saying, they weren't really comfortable with that part of the show. Some of the views that she shared, they weren't comfortable with those views. They don't share those views, and yada yada yada. And essentially, Linnea, and I don't want to misrepresent her, but she was saying that she does tarot card readings, and she gave a really good explanation as to how that actually works. I'm actually going to splice that video and send that directly so that you can see that by itself. But and I was just saying, how is it that we as a people are so comfortable accepting so many other things? Example, a man standing in front of an ocean with a rod and holding it out, parting the ocean in two, and thousands of people walk through, and we're comfortable with that. We're comfortable with him holding up, or another guy holding up some fish and some bread and feeding 5,000 people with it. We're good with that as well. We're good with a lot of other things, but someone actually being able to read from tarot cards or being able to channel their own ancestors is something that is just so far-fetched for us that we're uncomfortable with it. That is why I'm not comfortable. Let me see here. That is why I'm not comfortable coming on. People like to judge based on their understanding, which is ignorant in my eyes. It is ignorant. And Mary, I see you there. I'm gonna have you on in a minute. Take your time and work out all your kinks, my dear. Greetings, Scadia Bocha, New York, represented in the house. Blessings. But yeah, you are right. You're right, Sharika. But you're right. Yes. However, who cares? Someone has a different opinion than you do, and they are not willing to have a conversation with you so that you guys can discuss it and see where the finer points lie. If they just want to stay in the background and talk about whatever, have them have at it. Nobody cares. Linnea's content, however, I really appreciate it because I think here's what I think. I think that because, and the example that I gave to her when she was on the show is something that I heard her say. She said she visited her brother and he couldn't sing. He could sing before, but he couldn't sing anymore. He couldn't sing because he didn't practice singing. And a lot of gifts are just like that. You don't use the gift, you lose the gift. If I don't play, if I haven't played soccer, football in a while, if I go play football now, I always play better the second day than the first day. The first day, it takes me a while to what these guys would call get my touch back. It takes me a while to get my touch back. The second day, I have my touch and I'm more comfortable on the ball. Now, there are a lot of things that our ancestors used to do that we've lost to time, we've lost to history, we've lost in the Middle Passage, we've lost on a plantation, we've lost on a slave ship. We've lost it, and because it was not recorded anywhere, and there was nobody to pass it down to us, and by the time we were reintroduced to it, we had a glasses on that someone who does not have our best interests at heart gave us to look at it through. Then our concept of it is off. Our concept of it is skewed in the direction of the person who reintroduced it to us, though that is not where it came from initially. And all I'm saying is, instead of being so quick to put something aside because it is not consistent with what you are comfortable with right now, take a moment and think of the origin of it. And I don't know if because I was a history major many moons ago, and I like to know the root of things, why I usually take this approach. But don't just try to sell me something wholesale. And you too, don't just try to accept something wholesale because it's always been done this way, or this is the way you were introduced to it. How about you take a minute and seek out the root of it for yourself? And when you do that, you ask yourself, which is more probable? And if this one over here that I've accepted all this time is just as probable as this one I'm just being introduced with, why exactly do I have a problem with this one over here? Is it because of the source of it? Is it because it has been introduced to me by someone that looks like me? Is it because I have a problem with people that look like me? Is it because I have a problem with how I look myself? Is it that I actually I'm not truly comfortable with my people and their heritage and their history? Or I've just never spent enough time to seek it out. It's not there. Come on, we all read what? Arawaks to Africans? We all read Arawaks to Africans, and they're how Europe underdeveloped Africa and all these issues. Those are the books. Okay, written by whom? With what interest in the mind, right? So before we go wholesale accepting things that because it's always been that way. At one point in Jamaica, everybody that made music was white. All the producers were white, until people decide that we're going to make a studio for ourselves and make music for ourselves because we wanted our music to sound a particular way. And reggae music was born. And now look at us. We have a reggae mixtape and all. You think I'm not going to find a way to work in my mixtape shirt? You're tripping. But my point, though, being, let us not be so quick to not accept or not even entertain something because it sounds like something we think is taboo or had been introduced to us as being taboo or something we should not like or ascribe to, right? Let us, before we get to that point, think about, where is this actually coming from? What is the root of this? Okay, and if you find out that this is your where you're at, and the concept you have is really just a regurgitation, especially of the colonizer's perspective, then your perspective might need a little dusting off and refreshing. If you are simply wholeheartedly, your whole concept of how the world works and how people are and how people should be treated and how things are is just a regurgitation of everything the colonizer gave to you, then friend, you need to go check yourself. If you still think lighter is better or white is right, if these are the concepts that you're still using to guide your actions, or you think that there is only one way to anything, you need to fine-tune you need to fine-tune your perspective. You need to actually spend some time read some books, and some of them are some hard to find books, so you're going to have to actually be dedicated to do it to actually find the books in the first place. But you need to start questioning things. You need to stop just accepting everything that you've been given as is. And when you will come upon something, you need to ask what it is origin. And if the origin of it is Black or African, you need to ask yourself if the version of it you are getting now is the original version. You need to ask yourself if the way that it looks now is the way it looked initially. And if colonialism, if 400 years of slavery, if any of those things have impacted it. I saw someone post a picture the other day, and I'm not a politician or a preacher, and I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes in any way. But I saw a picture of Jesus, and it was Jesus however long ago and now, right? And there was one that looked like an Arab, somebody from Israel that looked, somebody from the Middle East, and the other man was clearly white. And they were saying, you know, when did this guy over here become this guy over here? And the probability of him being white is not really probable because he's from the Middle East, Israel, Egypt, the Sea of Galilee. All those places are in the Middle East. So people from that part of the world typically look a particular way. Now, just saying that to say, to demonstrate how history can change things and how our perception of something can change over time, and how, especially if we have an education system that was given to us by someone that did not have our best interests at heart and actively took action to keep us subjected, then you might want to rethink a lot of things, just in case there are things out there that you have accepted that are a part of the designed to keep your perspective a particular way because it is in the best interest of the bigger goal of someone that does not have your best interest at heart. And I had no idea to say any of these things when I went live. But if you get me going on something that I'm passionate about, then you get Martin, the history teacher. You're welcome. All right, Mary, you look ready. I'm going to introduce you momentarily, my dear. I just want to get caught up real quick on these comments. Sherry says she's emotional and she get mad quick. Don't worry, I'm here. I'll talk you off the ledge. That's a part of the role of a host. Singer's block, something like that. I feel you. I think she's waving at you, Sherry. I think Kadia is. When I come on, I want to discuss UFOs. When you come on, you want to discuss UFOs. And I think she was, she shared some of the views that I was saying. Regurgitation of the colonizers' argument. Anywho, yeah, like I said, y'all don't want to get me going. Leanne's comment, and then Mary, we're going to introduce you. We need to understand our heritage and do some deep background research, read our culture, have an understanding of it, and learn to appreciate it. Truer words have never been said. You are right, my dear. We definitely this is the approach we have to take. The time to just wholesale accept things because it's always been that way, or because that's the way it was introduced to you, or looking at it through a glass, and the glass was given to you by someone that doesn't have your best interest at heart in any way, shape, or form. You got to revamp that. All right. If we have time, little more, we check it up because Mary is a lady of not as many words. My guest tonight, and thank y'all for indulging me just now on what could have equated to a rant. But my guest tonight is author Mary White. I met Mary many moons ago, or absolute random. I went to Fontana Pharmacy in Mandeville to check on my book, and Mary was there doing a book signing herself. Her book, oh my word, I don't have her book at arm's length. Okay, it's here somewhere, I promise. But her book is Glass Houses, and I think she's up to Glass Houses 2 now. I definitely want to catch up and see what's been going on since we last spoke. She's a philanthropist. I want to ask her about that as well. And Mary is just a sophisticated woman. If I don't know Mary, I don't know, but if you know, you know. But without further ado, Mary. You're muted, Mary. I can't hear you, my dear. Let me see if I can unmute you.
Sorry,
Unmute yourself. There you go.
sorry. Me and this technology always fighting.
How are you?
Hearing me now?
Good, good,
Are
good to
you
have
hearing
you.
me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. I am hearing you just fine. Is
Good.
her book about her life experience as a Christian? No, it is not actually. It is not. Actually, kind of sorta. But Mary, let's do this. A guest wants to know, or one of my viewers want to know, if your
Yes.
book is about your life experiences as a Christian. So answer that question and tell us about glass houses and glass houses too.
The book is about life experiences about life, be it Christian, pagan, non-Christian, and it could be in a way said that it's about life experiences of me, because that's hence the name Glass Houses. Because when I look at me, I see your reflection, and when I look at you, I see my reflection. Because as a people, we're more related and intertwined and similar than we think of sometimes until we start to share our experiences. We're finding out that you are going through the same thing, just in a different version. And hence the name Glass Houses, because it's like a reflection of each other's life in each other. As the Rasta said, I and I, that mean I are you. Yeah, I and I.
Now, somebody asked me the other day about your book. I was telling them something about Mary White, and I was telling them about some work you had done for me on your from your 9 to 5 aspect of things. And I was telling them that Glass Houses was somewhat of a daily bread, is it not?
Yes, that is
Elaborate.
correct. Yes. It's somewhat of a daily bread, but the concept is a little up version of a daily bread. Because what I've incorporated with Glass Houses is sharing real, raw, and relatable stories. That's one. So the stories that you read are not necessarily from a Christian perspective, like the daily bread, but they're just life stories of people's experiences. Because Christianity is life, right? And that's one. So they are real stories. Second thing is that Glass Houses allow you to write your story while you read other people's stories. So there's a journal that
Hmm.
facilitates you writing your story through a Dear God letter daily, through
Okay, cool.
a prior section for you to use in the
Hmm.
prior template to guide you into writing a prior that first honors God and thanks Him for what He does for you, then going to ask Him for what you need for the day, similar to the old Father prior, then asking Him to release people and for yourself to be released, and then going into the whole praising of God in the end, to say,
Nice.
you're God, you're so majestic, you're so you're King of the universe. Praised are you. We look forward to the return of your Son Jesus Christ to come and set up the kingdom of God and out to the devil.
So this is something we can look forward to pretty much annually based on the nature of it.
Yes, and it's an annual, so it's 365 days of journaling and prayers and a blessing jar to write down your blessings each week and a memory verse for you to write, because I give you like a chapter to read each week, and you write down the verse that sticks with you, that really speaks to you when you read that chapter.
Okay, cool, cool. That's very cool, and I wish you all the best with Glass Houses 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. It's gonna be like the Fast and Furious. We're gonna be all the way up to Glass Houses 10 here in a little bit. Now, your charity,
All of
your
us.
charity that you're affiliated with, the girls' home. I don't remember the name, Mary. Remind me of the name of it and tell me how they've been doing during pandemic.
The name of what?
Your charity, my dear.
Oh, Pringle Home for Girls.
Pringle Home for Girls. There you go.
Yes.
How are they doing?
The mission is going pretty well, because in the first, when I started out to do this, to set up the resource center for the girls so that they can have access to online learning, but most of all, mind adventures, because everything is like in memory and honor of my mother, who was an avid reader and taught me to appreciate the whole meaning mind adventure experience of reading, and I want to share that experience with the girls. It's going well because I started out getting some good sponsors, corporate sponsors, who supported the launch, and since then we have had Chase Fund come on to furnish, to undertake the furnishing of the resource center, which is huge. So corporate Jamaica and government has been very, very good to the Pringle Home for Girls resource center.
And for those that may not know, where is the Pringle Home for Girls? For those that may not know, where is it?
Where is it? In my home parish, St. Mary, Karen Hall, St. Mary.
Okay, good, thank you. Now, my next question for you, Mary, it actually requires a drum roll, but my drums are too far away as well. There you go. Now, when's the wedding? When's the wedding, Mary?
What are you talking about, Martin?
What do you mean? What I'm talking about? When's the wedding?
What are you talking? What are you talking about?
Mary, Mary, why are you sweating? Mary, why are you sweating? Why are you sweating? Mary, why are you sweating?
Liza is the one who told you, right?
I'm sorry.
She can't keep a secret, you know.
Well, you should not introduce me to her. You should not have introduced me to Liza. We would have these problems.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep things on the down low, you know, for a period. Who tell me to tell Liza? The whole world knows.
I'm gonna have Liza back on the show soon, and you can jump on. I'll send you the link. I'll not let her know you have the link, and then the minute I mention it, I put you on. Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's
like Jerry Springer show when people come from around the back.
This is what is happening, Martin.
Oh yes, I can. I think I need my shades. You know, I told me. Let me see if I have my shades here. You know, see what's going on. Woo, okay, I'm ready now. Let me see that now. Oh my word! Oh my word! Is that what are going in around here? Wow. Okay.
Yes, it just happened.
That's excellent. That is excellent, Mary. You're a phenomenal person. You deserve all the happiness there is. Mary gone. All right, you're back. There you go. All right. Now, anything new? Anything else you wanna tell us before we jump into some poetry here?
So the engagement is new. That was Sunday at 3 p.m. Right? Knees and all. I was like shocked.
That's the only way to do it. That's the only way to do it. If you're going to do it right, that's the only way to do it.
Well, obviously, these men have a conglomerate of men that pulls them aside and say, listen, this is how you do a proposal. So he was knees and all. I was very shocked. I thought we were too old for the knees thing. But he got
very proud of him.
Can you get up? Can you get up?
Very proud of him. Very proud of him. I like that guy already. Very proud of him.
So that's the newest thing happening. And now with this that's happening, Martin, a book that I started writing in 2018 called Becoming the Proverbs 31 Wife.
Yes.
Yes, I'm going to be releasing that because that book started writing about my journey of being a wife before I met my husband. And I said to myself, well, God, you know, I can't release the book unless I have a husband, so you have to sort that out.
Right.
If I'm writing about a wife without a husband,
hey,
and it would only be authentic to do so. So I'm going to release it after the wedding. So let's hope he has a date in mind soon.
I just want my invite today. I just want my invite because we now miss it. May I come down to Jamaica sharp as a razor for your 10 wedding. You understand?
Come to Jamaica for a 30-minute wedding?
I'm sorry?
Are you going to fly to Jamaica for a 30-minute wedding or are you going to attend virtually? Which one? I'm
going to attend physically and in person.
Oh my God. This will not be the event of the century, no, Martin.
No. A long time. No, it's a long time I gone on wedding. I like wedding. All kind of nice and fluffy things happen at wedding. I like wedding. I like the happiness. I like the joy.
Okay.
But I want to make a confession though. I want to make a confession. Liza didn't tell me anything at all. That was 100% stab in the dark, and I didn't know what answer. Huh? I didn't know. I had no idea. I had no idea whatsoever. I just said it. I just said it. I have not spoken to Liza in a minute, so she did not tell me. So before I put Liza in trouble, I just want to say no. Liza did not tell me about it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Now, anything else before we read? What are you gonna read? And are you ready to go?
Okay. So Glass Houses 2 is out, and I'm
Mhm.
currently writing Glass Houses 3
Okay.
to release later this year because it's a sequel, so it will go on into eternity. Because every
Nice.
year people need to change the old one because it would have been fully journalized, and they need to get their new book with new stories and new perspectives and new scriptures. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I have
All
to
right.
get the device. Let me get the device ready.
Mary, get your glasses. Don't even try. Just get your glasses and be done with it, Mary.
And for good measure, this even we have two. Nothing.
You see, I didn't. You see, I didn't want you start to end up in problems. I was just trying to, you do it for me. You know what I mean? So I'm just doing it for you.
Yes, thank you, Martin.
Yes, my dear. So what are you reading first, Mary? What are you reading?
I'm reading from.
What's the title of your poem that you're reading?
Hold on, I'm bringing it up. I have. Lord Jesus, I'm gonna put the device to speak for 1 minute. All right, here it is. Come on, something going so. So it's called. The title is Running Away.
Running Away. Okay, excellent.
Yes.
Running Away is page 58 in the book, I think.
Yes.
Well, it's 58 in my book. So
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
if you have your book handy, viewers, the Bible reading today is from page 58, Running Away, it's called. Whenever you're ready, my dear, go for it.
All right. So what do we do first? Do we read?
Yes, please read. Whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Okay. Here I am, away again. Just like last time, I'm running from myself. Can't really sit still and wait. It's like being lured to the gate. Though I've already turned the page, I still feel a latent rage. Will this boomerang ever come around? We sit in silence, not a sound. Valid points, different views, words I promised not to use. Looking in the mirror of the past, how long will this silence last? Doing the right thing, anxious to start, arriving on time, stopped by the guard. I think I'm missing a key component. No one to blame but myself. One step forward, two steps backward, moving forward, not on track. Maybe it's time to stop and pray. Divine intervention should show the way. No, here I go again. On the outside, looking in, knowing I was wrong, but can't concede, knowing what's needed to proceed. Yet in the distance is a door. Being together has become such a chore. So I'll keep running to places new. Maybe I'm really running away from you.
Maybe I'm really
Maybe.
running away
I'm
from
not
you.
noticing the maybe.
Hey, who knows? Now, Mary, that poem is, and that was beautifully read, by the way. That was very beautifully read. Um, the poem is Running Away. I don't know what that crackling sound is, Mary. There's a crackling sound coming from your end.
Yes,
But
I'm
anywho,
hearing it too.
it's
Hold on.
not me, I promise. All right,
Hold
I'm
on.
gonna take you off while you figure it out. All right, peoples. Mary, go figure it out the crackle sound. But she read Running Away. And if you have your book, and I never even mentioned my book in my intro, we usually read poetry from my book. It's on the back there called Love, Life, Confrontation, Expressions, Selections from the Chronicles of a Black Man. It's available in Fontana Pharmacies in Jamaica. It's available worldwide on Amazon.com. It is a book of poetry. There are over about 50, 60 original pieces of poetry in there written by yours truly. And I remember doing my book signing, and I told folks, Everybody that buys this book, at some point in the book, they're going to come up on a story that they're going to say, wow, this one is mine. They're going to find themselves looking around, wondering where I am and how is it that I could have written something without knowing them that speaks so specifically to their situation. The show evolved out of that, and that's what we do here. We put it out there for people to say, wow, there's actually, that's actually relatable to me. I can actually relate to that, right? So if you don't have a copy, go get a copy. It's a really good read, really easy read. I remember a few folks that got theirs real early. Say, Martin, I read it off the whole thing first go around. But anyways, tonight we're reading Running Away. Author Mary White is my guest, and we're gonna mix it up right now. Mary,
Yes.
you have your spoon. You ready for mix up?
Whatever you just did, I'm hardly hearing you.
Okay. My mic is loud. It's right by me. Can you hear me now? Mic check 1 2.
Better.
Okay, good. All right. Now the poem is Running Away. Now, what is the first thing that came to mind when you saw the title Running Away?
It reminds me of my life itself, where it's like we are in situations and we're torn. That's what I get from the running away. Where red flags. We're in a situation and is that where I'm torn or I'm seeing red flags, and so I'm running. Something to make me a little bit edgy, uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm in an uncomfortable situation, and so I feel like it's time to run. Get away
Okay.
from it.
All right. Well, that's the title. So let's dive in a little more. The first stanza, I'm gonna reread the first stanza. The first stanza says, "Here I am, running away again. Just like the last time, I'm running from myself. Can't really sit still and wait. It's like being lured to the gate." Now, when you read stanza 1, what comes to mind? What scenario comes to mind that kind of captures the sentiment being expressed here?
It would be a self conflict, obviously an inner conflict. So it's not like the title. When I saw the title, I think I see a situation on the outside of me, and so I'm running away from this. When I read stanza one, no, I'm getting it's like having conflict with myself, and so like most of us do, sometimes we feel like running away from ourselves.
Okay, excellent, excellent. I'm gonna look at 2 and 3 together, and I think somehow it's me reading that is causing that crackling sound on your end. But I hope the viewers, nobody has complained yet, so we keep moving. Stanzas 2 and 3 says, "Though I've already turned the page, I still feel a latent rage. Will this boomerang ever come around? We sit in silence, not a sound. Valid points, different views, words I promise not to use. Looking into a mirror of the past, how long will this silence last?" Now, stanza 2 and 3 give us more insight into what is happening. What new information do you, or what do we learn from the dynamic about the people that are involved in this poem from stanzas 2 and 3?
Stanzas 2 and 3 speaks about inner fear for me. That's what I gather. And it's something that whether sometimes we're hurt from the outside or we ourselves disappoint ourselves. That fear is there. Will it happen again? Can I trust myself never to go back or repeat this in my life again? And it's something that I see the person here is wrestling with. Okay, will it come back like a boomerang
Right.
to befall me again? Um, so we just have to wait. We don't know. We can't swear. We can't say never, never, never. Sometimes some things we say never, never, never. When we look, we're the same one back in that situation, repeating history all over again. So it's just that in that conflict and that fear of the past repeating itself in our life, which would suggest to us that we're not growing because we have been told that if we don't learn from our mistakes and move past them, never repeat them, that means we're not growing.
Nice,
And
nice. Mary,
some people would actually put the F word on it. And once you say that,
all right, Mary.
that all some of us need to just eat rock bottom. You know what I mean?
I feel you. I feel you. Now we're moving right on. Now stanza 4 kind of talks more to the narrator. It says, doing the right thing, anxious to start, arriving on time, stopped by the guard. I think I'm missing a key component. No one to blame but myself. Now, stanza 4 zooms in on how the narrator feels about their role in what is taking place. How do you think the narrator feels?
Say that. How do I think?
How do you think that now that stanza kind of zooms in on how the narrator feels about their role in whatever is taking place? I'm saying, how do you think the narrator
I'm getting a
feels?
feeling of annoyance here. Annoyed that what I'm getting is okay. So I've tried to pick myself up, shake off the dust, and shake off the fear that is holding me back. And I'm stepping out now. But here it is. It's like somebody trying to block you. You have worked upon the confidence that you can work up to step out. I'm not afraid. I can do this. I'm not going to repeat my mistake. But here it is. Somebody trying to block you.
Mm-hmm. So it's like, yeah.
Get out my way.
I feel you, Mary. I feel you. Now, let's do this. The stanza 5 says, one step forward, 2 steps back, moving forward, not on track. Maybe it's time I stop and pray, divine intervention to show the way. Now, the mention of divine intervention in that stanza speaks to the state of mind of the narrator. What do you perceive the source? And you just mentioned the frustration. What do you think the source of that frustration is?
Whenever I see divine intervention, for me, it's a sign, it's a ray of hope. I whether it's happening, because faith is about believing that whether it's happening now or it's going to happen, you're embracing the possibility that either something great is happening or it's going to happen. So when I see divine intervention, I am it's like a wind, a breath of fresh air coming in. You can breathe. You can let go because it doesn't stop and start with you. And despite whatever blockages going in a conflict you're having or blockages from the outside, divine intervention is that miracle ingredient that's just going to lift you up and out. And so this is where I begin to smile.
Nice, nice. Now, the next stanza, though.
Break down and doors are going to just fall to the ground because Big Daddy is stepping in. We need some divine intervention right about now.
I hear you. I hear you. Now, the next stanza kind of mixes it up a bit. It says, now here I go again, on the outside looking in, knowing I was wrong but can't concede, knowing what's needed to proceed. Now, using that bit of information, what do you think? What kind of relationship? What type of relationship do you think they have, and what is the prognosis for their relationship?
I'm seeing pride at work here. This person is very human, Martin. Very human, because they're going through all the phases and the emotions that we go through as a person. So here it is. So there was fear, then there is the letting go for the divine intervention. You have done all that you can do. 1 step backward, 2 steps forward, and you're not making it. So time now for let go and let God. Okay? Now we're here, the person is now recognizing that they have an ego. Recognizing that pride is what is really holding them back.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing what's needed to proceed, but sometimes can't really do it. It's a struggle. It's a struggle. We know the right thing, but do the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Because
I feel you. Mary, you're so good. You're so good. All right, now check this. The last stanza says, Yet in the distance is a door.
Mm-hmm.
Being together has become such a bore. So I'll keep running to places new. Maybe I'm running away from you. Now, what is the epiphany that the narrator has in that last stanza? With that is in mind, does that change or support the view that you have of the everything in the poem that have happened before that?
When I read the last stanza, I was like, did I get it right the first time that the person was running away from their inner man? Or is there really an external person that the person is running away from? But as I read it over again, I am sure, so you need now to tell me, did I gather it right that really and truly this person is truly at war and at conflict and at wrestling with their who they are and who they want to be, and the two
Mm-hmm.
cannot meet or come together in harmony. And so in the end has decided, listen, I see the light, I just can't.
Lost your sound there. Lost you altogether. All right. Um, Mary's so sharp sometimes she kills me. But thanks for staying tuned so far. We are almost gonna wrap this one up here. It's almost in the bag. But again, Flow or cable or wireless, y'all know how I go. Water probably soon gone to. Anyways, we're going to, as soon as she regains Wi-Fi or whatever knocked her off, I probably have another question or two for her, and then we're gonna wrap this up. But that is Mary White. She mentioned the Pringle Home for Girls, and she works with them, securing finance and so on. For it's a girls' home, and I can't even imagine the needs that they have there when regular 9 to 5 people need so much. If they're in a home, they need that much more. So if there's any way you viewer out there can get affiliated with them or can give them some support in any way, please go out there and do that. Mary's book is also in Fontana Glass Houses too. And like you said, it's somewhat of a hybrid version of a daily bread. It comes with a journal, requires you to write stuff in there, and it's just, yeah, I think that kind of captures what it really is. It's an evolved version. It's a hybrid version of a daily bread. It don't use gas and diesel, it'll use electric. Okay, yeah, something like that. Leanne is saying interesting program, thank you my dear, we aim to keep it interesting, and if Mary ever comes back, we'll wrap it up interestingly as well. But in the meantime, I want to say this poem is called Running Away. I vaguely remember writing it, but as I was rereading it for the show, there are several things that come out in Running Away that are pertinent to people. The next question actually that I have for Mary is gonna have her to compare the first stanza and the last stanza. The first stanza, like I said, mentioned, here I am running away again, just like the last time, I'm running from myself. Can't really sit still and wait. It's like I'm being lured to the gate. And there are several times that persons are in situations where they feel like running away or they have run away, and it's almost like they can't sit still. I have friends who have concluded that, you know what, I shouldn't date any. I shouldn't be in a committed relationship because I can't be in a committed relationship. So I shouldn't even bother to try, because I can't. I always feel like running away after when I feel like they're getting too close or I feel like we're getting too serious. They want to run away. But in those instances, who exactly are they running away from? Are they actually running away from the individual that they're involved with? Or are they in fact running away from themselves? Because if you keep going back into the same situation with different people, who truly are you running away from? The last stanza says, "Yet in the distance is a door. Being together has become such a chore. So I'll keep running to places new. Maybe I'm running away from you." But if you view those two in light, which is actually what I'm going to ask Mary when she comes back on, should she come back on, is what exactly is happening? What exactly is this individual running away from? Throughout the poem, they've expressed stuff like, will this boomerang ever come around? Sitting in silence, not a sound. There's another line in here that says, looking into the mirror of the past, how long will this silence last? And these all speak to somebody being in a situation where it's almost like they're at an impasse. They're at a stalemate. They need to make a decision as to which direction to go, and they can't really decide on what information they should follow to take this journey that they're trying to be on. So they're running away. But like I said, who exactly are they running away from? Mary, give me the thumbs up if you're ready, my dear. Thumbs up. Mary is ready, and we're back in business. So,
I've
Mary,
switched devices, Martin.
I admire your persistence. I do. I do admire your persistence. Now, I actually only have one more question for you, and what I want you to do for this question, I want you to reread. You still have your poem handy, right?
Let's
I
see
want I, I want you to reread stanzas 1 and 7, the first stanza and the last stanza. I want you to reread just those two stanzas back to back, as if that is the poem.
All right. Stanza, which one?
One, the first one and the last one.
And
First
the last.
stanza and last stanza. Yep.
Okay. All right. Come with something. Behave, summer. Here I am, running away again. Just like last time, I'm running from myself. Can't really sit still and wait. It's like being lured to the gate. And last, yet in the distance is a door. Being together has become such a chore. So I'll keep running to new places. Maybe I'm really running away from you.
All right. Now, the first stanza spoke about running away from myself. The
Mm-hmm.
last stanza spoke about running away from you.
Mm-hmm.
What, in your opinion, is the significance of this change? And what does this tell you about how the narrator truly feels?
As I tell you, the last stanza there, Martin, had me sort of wondering if I got the first impression right, or it was the last stanza, was I supposed to have an epiphany in
Hmm.
the end? So my mind was like, okay.
Did I
But
miss something?
I am going to go with my first impression. My first
Okay.
impression was that the person was having an inner wrestling with whatever weaknesses that they were having and feeling conquered by it, even though they had a mindset to move forward and wanted to change, wanted to become a new person. That old man of whatever they hated about themselves would not let them go, would not release them to fly.
So
And
you think they're
so,
projecting? You think they're projecting? It's that
yes.
this
And
is
so,
me
in the
trying.
end,
Uh huh.
yeah, in the end, the running away from you is like that that inner conflict has become too like bipolar. Two people living in the same body,
Hmm.
wrestling. One is good, one is bad, and that person just can't
There's a song.
seem.
There's a song like that. There's a song by is it Brandy or what was that girl's name? There's a stranger in my house. You know that song? There's a
And that
stranger in my
stranger is
house.
me.
Took a while to figure out. And the last part of the song, she says, "Is it that the stranger? Is it that the stranger is me?" This
Yes,
I never thought about that before, but that actually is kind of like what this is.
right.
Only
So
in only
that's
is the
my
reverse.
impression.
Only is the reverse here where they're saying, "Is it you that's the problem?" Even though throughout the poem they're pretty much saying it's I know that I'm the problem because I want to run away because of me, not because of
Yes.
you.
So it is acceptance. So I think this person is ready to heal because in the end they have accepted, or throughout the poem you see them wrestling, trying to come to grips with, I do have a problem, but yet I can't fix it because I am standing in my own way with my pride, my ego, which is just what all we regular people go through. Yes? And then in the end, no, they're saying, really accepting that I'm the problem, really. I'm running away from me, and I just can't doing the right thing, anxious to start, arriving on time. No, sorry. I want to read the last one again, Martin. I think the last one is so profound. Let me just read the last stanza again. Yet in the distance, they see the door, so they see hope. But it's you like you
Mm-hmm.
can't reach out and touch it because
Mm-hmm.
whatever is weakness or shortcoming you have, being together has become as such a chore. Sometimes we tear ourselves out. We beat ourselves up so bad. We disappoint ourselves so bad that it tires us. Sometimes that's why people lock themselves like hibernate for days, because sometimes when you have to face that other you and realize that, boy, you have all of these dreams, you have all of these goals, you have all of these plans to do good, but that yourself just won't let you go. You just
Right.
curl up and lie down and pull the windows and sleep
I eat ice cream.
and eat ice. And I think that's what this person sort of come to. So I'll keep running to places new. But no matter where you go, you're still taking you. So the place is
Mm-hmm.
new, but the old you is going to you with you to that new place.
So they're,
So
they're, they're
you're,
they're
you're going
acting
to
as
keep
if they're running away from the other person, but no matter how they phrase it, they're really running away from themselves.
from them. Yes. So maybe I'm really running because everywhere new you go, it's polluted just the same because you're bringing the same bad energy.
Yep.
So how do you
All
run
right.
away? How do you run away from you? That's
You
one thing.
can't.
Yeah. How do you run away? Get
Bob
away
Marley say
from
you can't. Bob Marley say you can't. Bob Marley say you're running and running. Well, you
but you
can't run
can't.
away from yourself.
Do you so you see the frustration that this poor person is going through because yes, sometimes we'd want to vacate our lives, sometimes we'd want to run away from the weaker side of us, but as you say, we
Well,
can't.
let's do this, Mary. In the instance that I am a person and I find myself in this situation, what do
Mm-hmm.
I do? How do I what do I do to help myself? I want to run away from myself, like you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm running away from person to person, from relationship to relationship, from situation to situation, from job to job potentially, but I'm
Yes,
still stuck with me.
yes.
How do I break that loop? How do I break that cycle?
Acceptance for me. In the past, where because we all go through these issues, so I find it very relatable. Um, So let us take it to a practical example in my life where I wanted to be married, but I was bringing a singleness energy to all the relationships. But yet still, I'm frustrated. I want that. I see the
Right.
hope and I want to go through the door, but I'm the one stopping myself because every relationship I go in, I bring this energy of independence and divaness and singleness and don't need and not caring, selfishness, not caring about the other person's
Mm-hmm.
as a person. And so you'd find that people believe that your energy not right, and so you can't achieve your dream or your goal, but you want
Mm-hmm.
it. You have a burning desire, and you believe that you're doing everything to get your dream, but people are blocking you. And in the
So
end,
really,
when I begin to realize that the only person blocking me is me, and the only person who can change me is me, I had to just let it all go and submit to God and say, Father, this is what I want. How
I
do I
would I would
please
say
you?
I would say show us the ring again. Okay, I'm ready now. Ring,
Hold on.
ring, bling. All right,
All
Mary.
right. So I had to get to that place, Martin. And as I said to Doc, when he was telling me that I had some ways that needed to change, I said to him, that's not
Nah, bruh.
me, that's God. Because sometimes
Right.
we want to change, but the power, the mind is not strong enough to break free. So I
Mm-hmm.
had to go through a period of prayer and fasting, Martin, to pray for some of the bad dirty ways them. I said, God, see me here. You know every little ounce and corner and crevice And you see that, yes, when I want to say the right thing to him, I want to do right by him, but then I get in the way, become my mouth on its own spring and my actions on its own spring, and I mess up everything. So Father, just empty me and pour out yourself in me. Teach me how to become that virtuous woman. Teach me how to become that Proverbs 31 wife. And I just have to spend time in the scriptures, Martin, to transform my mind,
Mm-hmm.
where
Mm-hmm.
I could get to a place where he could say, okay, Mary, I can now see a future.
You're actually now ready for what you say you wanted all
Yes,
this time. You are actually now ready for it because you were the only one hindering yourself from having it all this time.
absolutely. Absolutely. I have a good man
Brilliant.
at hand, but he couldn't commit because I was blocking it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mary, I appreciate you so much, my dear. I appreciate you so much. Amidst the technical difficulty, I know I can always count on you to bring the goods when the time is right.
Oh,
And I
Lord.
appreciate you. Now, any before I let you go, any last comments you want to leave with the fans before we roll out?
Yes, I thank you so much, Martin, for reaching out, and I thank you so much for choosing. You always seems to, the poems always seem to speak to what I'm going through. You notice?
Maybe I seek divine intervention too. Are
Is
you
it
gonna do me like
possible?
that?
That yeah, man, the divine is speaking to you as a Martin. This is the right
Mm-hmm.
word now to concretize to what they would call it in the church,
Mm-hmm.
confirm Mary's
Mm-hmm.
journey. But I just want to say to people that we have to accept, we have to learn to self-reflect, self-inspect, as this person was doing in the poem, and accept our strengths, accept our weaknesses. And when we have done that, we have to submit to God, because a lot of times we want to effect changes, but we can't because we are just empty vessels. We are weak. And until we take on the mind of Christ and until we transform our mind and our spirit and our energy, most times we will keep blocking ourselves and living a frustrated life versus an abundant life, which is what Christ truly, truly wants us to live. So that's my few 2 cents.
That's my few words in Jesus' name. Like when people get testament.
Oh
Amen.
Lord, that's my few words in Jesus' name. Amen, brother.
Amen, Sister Mary. Mary, thanks so much, my dear. It's always a pleasure. And you take care, all right?
Yes.
Bye. All right, peoples, that's the ball game. And that was Mary White, the philanthropist, the author, and the lady just that always have a good thing. She do some exercise video these days. Mary, I exercise with them, get your husband. Me not talk too loud, but I'm good at that. Go on exercise here, you might get two. Or maybe I shouldn't have said that. But all I want to say is good show, and nobody never gonna say now gonna mention say my cup match my shirt. What are people and crab it? My shirt and my cup match. Me just see it myself. Anyways, that's the ball game, boys and girls. If this was your first time tuning into the show, I hope you enjoyed the show. The Evening People Show. We meet people. We always try to stay positive, leave some positive vibes. You know what I mean? Give some positive energy, put it out there. Like I said, there's book of poetries on the market. Check it out. For YouTube, like and subscribe and share. The YouTube is the Evening People Show. You know, I have a Chronicles of a Black Man Facebook page as well, because the subtitle of the book is called The Chronicles of a Black Man. And if this is your first time seeing the show live, what you will find out is that when it is time to go, I just be like, out.